I'm ready for cold weather. I'm ready for stout season.
Me too.
I just want fall. I mean,
Yeah, I like fall too.
Speaking of which, we're bringing back Oktoberfest beers coming up here in the next few weeks.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I hope we bring back the weather because 98 degrees is a good band, but terrible temperature.
Yeah. What a terrible music tie in there.
Inspired by the adventures of our nurses, therapists, and techs, A Beer with Atlas is the only healthcare traveling, craft beer drinking podcast. Each week, we'll open a few beers, talk about the brewery and the style of beer, and then dive into some research curated specifically for each episode. In the end, we hope each one sounds like a conversation you'd have with your friends while enjoying a few cold ones.
Welcome to another episode of A Beer with Atlas. I'm Rich.
I'm Brian.
I'm Dolan.
Was that a little spiky?
You
Dolan?
came in hot.
It was a little bit. Yeah.
I'm excited though.
I
I'm
can
excited.
tell. Anytime we got 3 beers on the table, that's a good start.
Absolutely. And arguably, maybe one of my favorite styles, maybe. I really like the wit beer, the white style of beer. And then there's a golden ale in there, which I really appreciate. And I know there's a stout in there for you as well.
And I'm guessing it's not the normal kind of stout.
Well, I hope not.
Belgian Stout, I think, which is a little different.
So we wrap up the beers that came from our Portland, Maine meet and greet. We've got 3 beers from Allagash Brewing Company, 50 Industrial Way, Portland, Maine.
Yeah. Industrial. That always seems to be where some of these breweries are, industrial parts of town.
I mean, you need a lot of land, right? I mean, you need a big building.
Yeah, with things that you can hold those big old fermenters and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like I said, we've got 3 beers here. Allagash White.
I've heard of that beer, a lot. It's like
yes.
a beer that people know about, but I've never had it.
It's, I don't want to say legendary up there, but it's kind of the one that started it all for them, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And it was maybe one of the first craft beers that part of the country got, necessarily outside of Sam Adams and that type of thing. And then we have one called 16 Counties. I don't know if that's a play on, I don't know, the number of counties in Maine.
Let's say, yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
It is let's see, what do they call this? It is a Maine-grown golden ale. 100% Maine-grown oats, barley, and wheat.
Yep.
That's fun. And then finally, Allagash North Sky, which is a stout.
Yeah, it doesn't get much more North Sky than the top of Maine.
Yeah. Smooth, roasted, silky. If I were to describe Brian in 3 words.
I was going to go with Dolan, actually. But
Okay. Well, there you go. All right, let's start with the white, just because it was the first.
Yeah, and it's going to be about 100 degrees here today. Mm-hmm. So a Belgian white style, that sounds pretty good.
So Allagash Brewing Company is open Monday 11 to 6, closed Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday 11 to 6, Friday and Saturday 11 to 7, and Sunday 11 to 5. Started in 1994.
Old school.
Old school.
An OG, if you will.
Rob Tod is his name. T-O-D. No 2 Ds on the end of that. Just Rob Tod. Started at a brewery called Otter Creek in the beginning. So there were craft breweries even back then. I guess there
Started
were.
on the East Coast.
Yeah.
A lot of these things, yeah.
1995, he opened a brewery for himself. He rented a little spot in the corner of a warehouse in an industrial park, Industrial Way, same place. And he called it Allagash Brewing Company. He had the more I read about the guy, it's a very Sierra Nevada type story. What's the Sierra Nevada guy's name? The
guy that founded it?
Yeah,
I don't know. All I have stuck in my head now is Rob Tod. I just keep thinking about 2 first names.
There we go. A very Sierra Nevada story in the beginning. Hopefully that's flattering to him, to Mr. Tod. He welded together his own first 15-barrel brewing system. He rented a jackhammer and jackhammered the concrete out to put in drains himself.
Yep.
Very self-made kind of dude. So did all of that work himself. The first beer they ever started with, that one right there, Allagash White.
Okay.
So this was their very first beer. It's very hazy.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yep.
It's got a very citrusy smell.
Yep.
Whoa.
Dolan woed it.
It's kind of like a saison.
Right, that's what I was going to say. A little farmhousey.
Yeah.
That's Belgian right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I guess if you're a fan of the Blue Moon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is
Pretty much what you're
yeah.
getting.
It's a little different though. It's a little spicier.
I almost
Yeah.
feel like it's a little tart, or like it's got lemon peel, or
No, I
some
like
sort
it.
of citrus peel to it for sure.
It's got orange peel in it.
Is that what it is?
Coriander.
Yeah, I knew it was some citrus.
Yeah.
You get that almost bitterness
Yeah.
from that. It's good.
Coriander's just a fancy word for cilantro, right?
It's the seed.
Seed, yeah.
It's the seed. Okay.
Yeah, the little ball.
Okay, so here's an interesting question because the cilantro people, right?
Yeah, the soap.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's a genetic thing. Either you taste soap or you like the taste of right. So is coriander the same way?
I don't know.
Does it taste like soap
I
if
don't
you
know, 'cause
don't?
you probably don't grind it up in your teeth. The seeds, you know what I mean? I don't know. What if you think it might taste like soap, cilantro, but you still like it anyway? Because I think that's me. My sister cannot eat cilantro.
Oh.
She
Oh,
hates
but
it.
you
But I
get
eat
the,
it. But I think it might kind of taste soapy, but I don't mind.
Huh.
I don't know. Whatever. I
I-
just had some on my banh mi sandwich last night that I made.
There you go.
I love cilantro.
Yeah, I'm a
I
fan.
grew cilantro in my garden this year, and I'd never grown it before, so I didn't plant it right.
Oh.
So each little sprig of cilantro is one seed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I figured
Oh.
like one seed would grow into like a
a whole bunch.
whole bunch.
What'd you get? Like 3 plants?
You have like 3 little.
I had
sprigs
like
and that's it.
6 little sprigs in this little pot, and I'm like,
It's like enough for one thing of salsa.
oh yeah,
The other bummer about cilantro is it doesn't regenerate. Once it's done, it's done.
No.
It doesn't keep going like mint or something else.
really?
Yeah. So once you
Oh yeah.
once you pull it, it's done.
So the leaves like grew out, and then it seeded out, and now I have a handful of seeds that were drying to try to replant it
Yeah.
next year.
The seeds have to
But yeah.
germinate every single year. They don't
Yeah.
it just doesn't grow back.
Yeah.
So like once you pick those leaves and use them, that's it. They're
Done for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next time, like quadruple the amount you want.
Oh yeah. Next time I'm gonna plant a couple in each hole.
Yeah. There
'cause-
you go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Garden talk.
Welcome back to Garden Talk. So this beer right here won gold at the World Beer Cup in 1998
Okay.
in the Belgian Style White category. 2002, it won gold at the Great American Beer Festival in that category. 2007 was their first expansion. So you would think, okay, once you win gold, like maybe that it'll kickstart things or whatever. It took 5 years for them to that first expansion.
Yeah.
2010, they moved their primary brewing and bottling equipment out of the original building. So from 1995 to 2010, they were in the same
15
building.
years.
Now they probably had the whole building, right?
Yeah,
They
at
had the
that point,
entire
yeah.
thing. But they moved it to the building next door. 2011, they bought a larger keg line too. So I guess
So you can get this on tap a lot of places, I'm guessing.
demand exploded.
I just read the can and kind of messed up. I guess this is one of those that you're supposed to store upside down, and then you're
weird.
supposed to like roll and swirl and
Oh.
It's actually on.
so.
It's funny you mentioned that. It's on their website.
Oh
And I clipped it out. And so on the way up here, because it was in the secret beer fridge in the
Yeah.
back.
yeah.
Here's the instructions. It's called flip, swirl, and sip.
Okay.
And they actually have kind of step by step on how you do it. And
So
then-
did we do it wrong?
no, well, not necessarily.
Okay.
It's here we go. Allagash White is an unfiltered Belgian style wheat beer. The key part of that last sentence is unfiltered.
Unfiltered, yeah.
Yeah. The Allagash White's hazy appearance comes from the lack of filtration. It's made up of yeast and protein extract from the grain during the brewing process. In a nutshell, it's a lot of stuff that makes Allagash White so delicious. Their words, not ours.
Yeah.
So,
But I would agree.
as you know, right, it'll separate as it sits in there. So as I walked up here, I just kinda
Swirled it around.
turned it over. I turned the can over. Normally with we'll do that with some
Like milkshake.
Fruited sours and stuff like that,
there you
yeah.
go.
where you roll the can or whatever. I just thought, now I'm just going to just back and forth like
Gently.
this, gently. Yeah, you don't want to...
I think you can tell that worked. And I think the other one I know that does that for sure is Boulevard. Like that's their big,
Yes.
that was their big claim. And that was a big thing in the late 80s, early 90s for wheat beers. And I think that's still preferable. I don't want a wheat beer that you can see through or a wit. I don't know. Just to me, it's just not what I'm looking for. But I also kind of grew up on the real hazy, you can't see through it style. So
It has a very just hazy characteristics. So I think just in general we did it right.
Yeah.
It just needed to mix a little bit. It sat back there for a
it
few
almost
weeks.
looks like a white wine or a champagne.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Has that kind of look to it.
A very
But man, it's
hazy
so floral
wine.
smelling. It does smell like a saison. Like that's almost what you think you're getting.
It's yeah. I mean, that's what I recognized right away.
I could drink a big one of these sitting out on a patio somewhere it was real hot. Like I think it would go down pretty easy.
I think at first it was, like Dolan said, it was a little saison-y, a little farmhouse-y. But the more I get into it, the more I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't like this beer. This might be the first one that I'm like, man, I want to like it, but I just I can't get behind it. I mean, I can understand it, I can respect it, you know what I mean? But
Just not your style.
Not my
your style,
style.
right.
Not my style.
Well, here's a little bit of what I got. And I looked at their website, but I stayed away from the the normal areas. So I looked at the thing they had right on there. They had a nice website.
They did
First
have
of all,
very
very
nice.
cool, very
Absolutely.
nice design. And one of the headers that floated by was the beer and grilling guide, and I was like,
Oh.
click.
Yep.
So I did that. So it had some of their beers, and then it listed some of the foods that you would maybe want to make with these beers.
Perfect.
So that was cool. So the first one I wrote down was the True Penny Pilsner and a cheeseburger. And the Pilsner should be clean and dry, they said. It'll help cut the fat of the cheeseburger, and you want to make sure you have a nice fat content in those burgers. So it won't also cover up any of the flavor of the cheeseburger, they say. It's just a nice complement, kind of mouth cleansing device. And that's one of the things that they suggested to pair it with. And that sounded good to me.
Did you bring cheeseburgers?
I ate them already. Sorry.
Good job.
Very
I'm
wimpy
proud of you.
me. Allagash White. They suggest a black bean burger to go with this.
Oh.
And this is their description. Pillowy mouthfeel of the beer. I would say yes.
Yeah.
Soothes the palate and cleanses of any spice from the black bean burger. The coriander and the orange peel complement the spice of the burger, which I could kind of see how that would play together pretty
Absolutely.
well. So those were the two that I saw off the thing that were actual foods that I could probably concoct or buy. So there you go. That's a little kind of cool little thing that they had on there.
Nothing for the stout, maybe? Is that...
I don't know. Usually it's not stout's usually not a with meal beer. It's more of like a afterwards thing, or you want to wreck your whole day. Start with that. It's usually not with dinner, but I bet you it would go good in like some chili or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But we haven't had it yet, so I can't say.
Beef stew.
Oh yeah,
we'll
hearty
see.
beef
Yeah.
stew from them. That's merchandising.
You love the merchandise
I
part.
check it out. I got to
Absolutely.
see what the hats look like. That's my number one thing. They were okay. But here is some of the stuff I wrote down that I've never seen at other breweries. And I've looked a lot. I've been to a lot. I do all the research for these. I look at their websites. Here are some of the items that you can buy branded that I've never seen before. Retro folding chair. So we're talking about the one your dad had. Like it looked like seat belts,
Yeah.
Like knitted seat belts.
Oh.
Like that sort of look.
Like in the
Oh,
summer
yeah,
you would
yeah, yeah, yeah.
stick to
Yes,
because you got some sweaty.
With like the 70s style folding chair. They have those with Allagash.
So is their logo like across the rubber banding or whatever?
Yeah, but I think it's cloth.
Oh, okay. Oh,
But it's on that leaf thing is on there.
That's fun.
okay.
They have a cribbage board.
No.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's cool.
sweet. All right.
I guess maybe you could sit there and play it while you're at the brewery or something.
Sure.
They have a Allagash branded oyster shucker,
The
like the knife. Yeah. Surf wax.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is there much surfing in
I think you could.
Maine?
Yeah, I saw some people doing it in the Atlantic and North Carolina.
I mean, it's coastal, so I guess
You're probably wearing a bodysuit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they're probably the surfers that you see that are like full get up
Yeah.
bodysuit.
I was in the ocean. It was cold. And a belt buckle, an Allagash belt buckle,
really.
and it was
Ooh.
pretty cheap, like $10.
Oh.
surprised Braden didn't come back with one of those.
Yeah, I am too, because it was a cowboy style one.
All right, we're gonna open up the 16 counties golden ale.
I almost got to think that it really is. They have 16 counties in Maine. I feel like that's a pretty good intuition.
I think you might be right. If we only had a device that we could
Yeah.
look these things up on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This Belgian style's golden ale's floral and tropical aroma, Dolan, springs from a bed of subtle malt character. The grain bill for 16 counties bundles together 2-row barley, raw wheat, and oats from our home state. And I'll tell you what, this thing is sweating, this can.
Well, because the humidity here is 1,000.
Yeah.
Guess what? If you did a quick Google search, how many counties in Maine?
16. Wow.
Smart. That's smart.
We are smart.
It's just marketing.
Still more than Arizona.
Really?
Yeah, Arizona's like 5 counties.
I swear Maricopa County in Arizona is like from north to south. It's like across the middle of the entire state.
It's like bigger than Rhode Island.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
for sure.
Really?
Maricopa has like every city you've ever heard of in Arizona is in Maricopa County.
Interesting. So you mentioned Belgian style again.
This is a Belgian brewery.
Yes.
Like straight up.
2011. The idea came to Rob and Jason. So Rob, the founder, Jason.
Rob Tod.
Rob Tod.
I remember that.
Jason, the head brewmaster, I believe.
Okay.
Other guy that was in it since the beginning. Once a brewery employee hits their 5-year mark, they take a trip to Belgium.
Oh.
And they call it the Allagash. The actual trip, the trip to Belgium, is called the Allagash. And they go visit Belgian breweries, and they do all kinds of research.
That's
like,
cool.
That's super cool. Like, from a business standpoint, like, that's a great idea.
I just hit 3 years here. Where do I get to go?
We got 2 more years, and then we can...
I thought maybe I could at least get to Cunningham's or something.
I'll take you to... there's these breweries down in Lincoln. Have you heard of Lincoln, Nebraska?
I've been there.
Down the road? We'll go some breweries down there, maybe. I don't
Sounds
know.
good. All right. 16 counties. Golden ale with Maine grain, it says.
Maine grain.
Notes of honey.
Yes, definitely.
Tropical hops-ish, I guess. And a hint of cereal grain. So maybe like Cheerios.
Oh.
6.5%. So a little stronger than the last one.
Slightly.
So we're in the IPA area, actually, of ABV.
Yep. 5.2 on the white.
So we're up a level ABV-wise.
6.2 is a very popular cross-strain IPA here.
Yeah.
So, yep.
So a little stronger with this one. I guess a golden ale. I mean, that's a straight up Belgian style beer. We don't have a lot of Belgian breweries.
No.
There was Nebraska Brewing Company when they first started out. They did a lot of Belgian beers.
Did they?
And like one of their real big ones, like I just read an article yesterday, and I think it's a rehash, but it's like the best beer in each state. You know, it's one of those deals.
Okay.
And it's Nebraska Brewing Company's peach beer is in there. And it's like a barrel-aged Belgian peach, which is really good.
Interesting.
Mélange à Trois, it's called.
Oh. Whoa.
I think I know what that means.
Can you explain it to
Look
me?
that up on Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, you have to Google that your own self.
Oh, okay.
Off the company internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the one that won. But they used to make a Belgian style IPA. It was called Hop God. And that was like my first IPA that I was really like, oh my goodness, what is this?
Really?
It had tons of IBUs and tons of just everything, hops everywhere, and I was in love. It was really high ABV, and
I don't want to disparage another brewery, but what happened?
I don't know. I mean, it's up to interpretation, I'm sure, but so here's the thing. This is true wherever you go. Some breweries that have been around a long time, that's it. They stick with their thing.
Yeah.
They make the same beer every year.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same exact thing. And then there's other breweries that try not to do the same thing, like hardly ever.
Sure.
Or they're always tinkering and doing that sort of thing. So
Okay.
there's two different styles.
All right.
One's more of your neighborhood, almost like a bar now.
Right.
Your neighborhood brewery or tap room where you know what you're going to get. And the other one's more like, you better go there on Tuesday because they're going to have 4 beers that come out and you don't know what they're going to be and you probably never had it before and they'll be sold out by Friday.
And you don't want to miss it.
And you got to go. It's like an event.
Right.
So there's two different like business models competing. And I think they're probably more into that neighborhoody sort of thing.
Interesting.
And they also were one of the first ones that you could get a lot of places. Like they were the first ones to can. Like you go golfing in Omaha, you could get it at the golf course.
Yep.
The Storm Chaser games, they had a lot of. I think they still do have a lot of their beers there.
Now, unfortunately, because of new MLB rules, this is the last year that you can get the. What's it called? Stormfront? Is it called? What's the one that they actually brew for the Storm Chasers?
Yeah, it's. I know what you're talking about. Ailstorm.
Ailstorm. You can no longer use MLB licensed properties on craft beers or on just like in general. Like,
Really?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because they don't get any money.
They don't get any money.
That's why.
And honestly, I don't want to blame it on Budweiser, Coors, the big boys, but they dump a ton of money into baseball in general.
Sponsor everything.
Right. And so to get some competition from local breweries that are be able to use the name, I don't know. I know this is information that I received from the Storm Chasers, and they're like, if you like it at ball games, drink it up this year. It'll still be available at like Hy-Vees and stuff like that.
But you can't get it there.
You still can't. You can't. Get
okay.
What a bummer.
So the brewery can still make the beer.
They just can't
and
sell it on site.
They can no longer use the logo though. Like they can't use the.
So they'll call it the same name, but it won't have Stormy.
Yeah, it's still called Ale Storm, but it won't have like the little cloud with the baseball bat through him or whatever. The funnel cloud or whatever. Unfortunately,
that's a good beer. I like that one.
I know. It's so good at a ball game. Dolan, what do you think about this one? Because this is different. It's a golden.
I like this one better than the last one. In my
this
opinion,
one's easy for what do you say? 6.2?
Yeah, super easy. The honey comes
6.5.
6.5. Oh, I thought you said 6.2. Holy cow!
I know it's kind of generic, but I kind of like honey adjuncts. Like a lot.
I do too.
I mean, I don't know. It makes for a good beer.
I found out just this week after I purchased some yogurt with honey in it for my infant daughter. But you cannot give honey to babies. My wife told me after I purchased this stuff.
Why?
Because they could get there's like some sort of bacteria in honey.
Oh.
And it can transfer to babies. They get like an allergic reaction to it. So
I've
no
heard
honey.
of this.
No honey for babies.
Heard of this. It's like something that comes from the bees themselves. Yeah.
Babies just can't process whatever it is. It doesn't affect adults, but
at what age does that change?
I don't know. I didn't ask her. I just got mad because I spent all this money on the honey.
Hey,
well, Dolan likes it. Bring it in for him.
Right.
He'll eat it.
I was gonna say now you got more honey yogurt for yourself.
That's true.
Yeah.
Unless you don't like yogurt.
From Maine with Love series. This is their like limited rotating series that they have at this brewery.
Oh, at this brewery, okay.
So here's some of the ones I wrote down, and this is kind of in line with what we were talking about earlier. The style of brewery. One of them is a saison. Most places you go don't have a saison. This one does.
Well, Belgian. I mean, right? I mean, you're not too far off.
For sure.
Yep.
They have this one. I didn't write the name down. I don't think it had a name, and if it did, I didn't write it down. But it's a cocktail-inspired beer. It's a tart pale ale, which usually we see IPAs. So I don't know if I've ever seen a tart just straight pale ale.
Yeah.
And it has juniper, so almost like a gin.
Yes.
And sea salt, because they have sea salt available in Maine.
There's a little bit.
So I think that would probably be pretty good.
That's the best commentary of the day.
Just a little bit. And then they had a wild session ale, so like a farmhouse, like infected on purpose, open container, but low.
I think
so. Like 2.5% was the ABV. On
wow.
that thing. Yeah, which is the traditional European style for those kind of beers. Where, working beers, you're supposed to drink it during the day while you're at work, and so you stay hydrated. And it was like 2%.
This was, I believe it was their website where they're actually one of the big open fermenters, like you can see it. And I always thought it'd be like a big tank looking thing. It almost looked like a big, I don't even know how to explain it. I want to say platter, and that's not right because it was probably 2 or 3 feet deep, but it was very wide and very long.
Yeah.
And it's just dumping in. It almost looks like the beers are like dumping on the floor.
Yeah.
Kind of. I guess I've never seen that before, so I don't know.
Anchor Steam has something similar-ish to that because that was their they did open fermentation and stuff on the roof of the brewery like
that's right.
100-something years ago. So it's kind of similar, but this is not a style. This is like a whole different brewery setup than what we're used to around here in Nebraska. Like this is old school European style stuff. I wrote this in my notes, and then as you said who was the founder, it clicked in. Mr. Rob Tod.
Rob Tod.
He won a James Beard Award in 2019.
I saw that.
That's pretty cool.
That's like super legit.
Outstanding wine, beer, spirits professional.
Yeah.
which is like normally a chef thing. Like that's where I've heard of the James Beard Award.
I didn't even know they did it for brewers.
I didn't
Brewers, what do they call winery guys? Whiners? Whiners?
I think
Whiners.
so.
I don't know.
Whiners, winos, whatever. People that make wine.
No offense to people that make wine.
We're just not into that racket.
No. I enjoy some wine, but...
I do too.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I wrote down one other thing I thought. Oh, this was on their website. This is just some of the things that they're really big in this. Oh boy, that's a word. Sustainability.
Okay, yes.
And recycling. So that's a huge thing for them.
I love recycling, yes.
And inclusive. Oh boy.
Why
Inclusivity.
Why is Dolan laughing? I like to recycle. Why is he laughing?
I don't know. Just a...
Hey guys, my name is Rich. I love to recycle. I don't know.
You know, as you get older, you appreciate different things.
It's pick on Rich Day, I guess. I don't understand, Dolan.
Recycling is the way to do it.
I appreciate recycling.
I recycle too. I get mad when my wife doesn't, like she throws a can away.
Yes.
I will pull it out of the trash
you have to.
and put it in the recycle.
Yep.
There you go. There you go.
But I guess that's kind of what they're all about. Earth stuff, keeping the oceans clean. They like to, they're very open as far as the people that work there and the beers that they're making. It's not for a certain group of folks.
Yeah.
Some breweries, they're, just for like hopheads or whatever,
Sure.
Like, and these guys are just trying to make stuff for everybody that will enjoy it.
Well, your state is beautiful, right? I mean, there's no arguing that Maine is beautiful.
I think so. I've never been. But
wouldn't you do everything that you could to help maintain that beauty?
yeah, for sure.
Oh, there you
Especially when one of their beers is all about stuff that they get from growing stuff in Maine. I think you want to, protect the land.
You would
and
think
the water.
so, yeah. It's fun that you mentioned that because I know in doing research for next week's episode, everything that they do there comes from that state as well. So it's fun how, and we've had other beers before where they're very proud to have, everything that we brew with comes from our state.
Yeah, hops and grain and malts and all that stuff. Yeah,
and obviously you couldn't do that in every state, but there are states where
we've done it in Nebraska even.
Yeah,
we've had all Nebraska beer.
Next week is Kansas, and it's. I mean, that's a very important thing for them is to make sure that they use all Kansas-based brewing material.
I would think most places it would be easy to do the grain and the malt. It's the hops that's going to be the issue, just for growing them, temperate stuff. So.
True.
We'll see what happens next week.
It plays the authenticity of it all too, which is nice. I mean, you go somewhere because you want something local, and what's more local than that?
True. All right, so we have moved on from 16 counties to the North Sky Stout.
Now look at that.
It's dark. It's not nearly as dark as...
It looks roasty,
That's
I will say.
Exactly what I was thinking.
I have some notes on that.
And it smells roasty, too.
It's a Belgian style stout. So it's more almost like a triple, or a tripel, if you will.
Okay.
Which is just a dark Belgian beer. And it's going to have also, Dolan should find some notes of honey in this one, as well as some passion fruit.
Passion fruit?
Oh. I've never used this word in conjunction with a stout before. It is refreshing.
Weird.
It's weird. Let's see if Dolan gets the same thing out of this.
Belgian.
It's right.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's almost like a cold brew coffee kind of flavor.
Okay.
I would even say it's better than most cold brew coffees that I've had.
Oh,
it smells very roasty.
It is. It's roasty. It's silky. It's yummy.
Yep.
Yeah, right up your alley.
I mean, before I was into, like double-barreled imperial stouts with raspberries and lactose and vanilla. This is what stouts were. A lot of times this is what you got.
This is what people are scared of, quite honestly.
Because it's dark.
Because it's dark and they don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
You think like super bitter and it's not.
Overpowering, really strong. It doesn't feel like that.
This was the Steve Seitner argument with me for all those years was I don't understand how you love coffee so much, but then you don't love stouts. And I was just scared of them. Yeah. I didn't know what I was going to get into.
This has amazing flavor. Just a little sip at a time. It tastes pretty good.
This might surprise you, but out of all three of these, this one is my favorite.
Really?
Yes.
I'm there too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could you imagine sitting in Maine on a colder day?
So that's most of the year.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
Drinking this beer?
Oh, yeah. That'd be great.
On the rocks next to a lighthouse.
Yep.
Yeah.
with a lobster.
You see a little lobster or a blue crab crawling on the rocks that you're sitting next to.
Nothing better than a good lobster roll. I'm telling you. Yeah. Oh man,
That does sound good.
I wish I could like go there and just like, I don't know. I've always pictured myself like maybe seeing a crab on the rocks and then like catching it.
Catching a crab.
I think that's called poaching. I don't know if you could do that.
Can you
I
do
think
that?
You can.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can do that.
I'm sure you can.
When I was in North Carolina like 2 weeks ago, at night we would go take the kids out on the beach.
Oh yeah.
And take a flashlight, and there was just crabs everywhere.
And you can
Everywhere.
Catch them, right?
Yeah, you can if you want to. A lot of them were really tiny, but some of them were pretty big.
Would they pinch you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, my father-in-law picked one up and it got him pretty good. We
But
laughed.
it can't hurt you that much, can
No.
it? Like, it's not going to cut your finger off, right?
Not off. It will cut your finger.
Okay.
I mean, there was
Cut
blood
you.
drawn, but it
Okay.
wasn't like there was no bone sticking out or anything.
See, that's worth it for me.
Yeah.
Little blood loss. You'll be
But
fine.
people do that all the time. Yeah. So
Right.
I think you'd be fine.
All right.
All right, here's what I tried to find out. I wanted to know what kind of tree that was with the leaf because it's on everything.
Yeah.
And I could never figure it out.
Okay.
I did research.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it's
Their
probably,
logo, right? I mean, it's their
yeah,
logo.
I'm assuming it's like whatever, maybe the state tree. I don't know. But I did some other research. So I wanted to know what does Allagash mean?
Okay.
Okay, so there is a Native American tribe up there, and this is a county in Maine now, but Penobscot is the name of the tribe. And that word Allagash to them means bark stream. So maybe it's like...
A stream of barking dogs.
No, I was thinking more of like river birch that has bark peeling off of it. Maybe that's kind of it. Something
yeah.
like that. I don't know. Urban Dictionary. This is a good place to check it out.
Oh, of course.
Allagash. There's three meanings. A brewery of excellent beers located and named after a town in the wilderness of Maine, USA. That was the first entry.
Oh.
Second entry, you were pretty close. A powerful canine.
Oh.
Oh.
And number 3, extremely... Oh, why are these words so hard?
Especially
Aesthetically pleasing. So
Oh.
you'd say, oh man, that video you did was Allagash because it was very nice to look at. That's a term. That's what that means. And then here's my last little bit of research today. And I wanted to go somewhere kind of off the trail a little bit because that's what I like to do. So we're going to talk about the 1976 case of the Allagash abductions.
Oh.
So this was a famous UFO abduction story. It happened in the 70s, 1976. There's 4 college kids out on a camping trip. They're from Massachusetts. They go up to Maine. They're camping. They're having fun like during the school summer break.
Okay.
So they're out canoeing, fishing one night, and they see a UFO fly over
Sure.
in the mountains because they're in the middle of nowhere. And they're like, that was weird. It changed colors from white to red to green. And they described it as almost as in a liquid or melding motion. So like the colors dripped and changed in the sky, almost like a lava lamp would do.
Freaky.
So they go the next day. They go into town and they tell a park ranger like, "Hey, we saw this thing in the sky. It did all this crazy stuff." And he was like, "Yeah, that was the spotlights for the grand opening of a hardware store in this town." And the town was like 40 miles away. And the guys are like, no, that's not what we saw. There's no way. There's no way. So then 2 days later, they're out on the boat in the canoe, fishing again at night. Guess what?
See it again.
They lose some time. They see it again. Next thing they know, they're on the beach.
No.
What happened? We don't know. Years later, we're talking the 90s. This thing happened kind of culturally where these stories came into like the popular culture, and they would go to these regressive therapists and they would like put you out and you would remember these memories that you had repressed, right? So a couple of the guys were like, oh yeah, they definitely took us on this craft. They were little, like your typical little gray aliens. They did stuff. They put us on the boat, back on the boat after they were done. And then we woke up and all that stuff happened and they did stuff to us. So they wrote collectively a book in 1993, and it was like a big hit. This was around a little bit after the Fire in the Sky stuff had come out.
That's what I was going to guess. Yeah.
So it was after that happened, and then this one came out. I found out that they were on maybe you remember this. You probably don't, but you might. Joan Rivers had a daytime talk show.
She did, yes.
So they were on there talking about it. This episode or the story was in Unsolved Mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
That's where. Which one is on Netflix? Because this is where I've heard this story is.
That'd be Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah,
Unsolved Mysteries is on Netflix because that's where I've heard it
now.
Yeah.
And then recently, like 2017, one of the guys says, "We lied. I lied about it. We thought we could get rich, and none of that happened."
What?
And the other 3 guys are like, "It totally happened.
Yeah,
we don't know what you're talking about. You got mad because you wanted to cash in more than we did.
Oh.
And we said, no, we're not licensing this out. And you got mad, and now you say it's not real."
Wow.
So nobody knows for sure, but it was one of the more famous abduction stories in the 70s. It was in all the papers. And then in the 90s, was on TV shows. They never made a movie of it like the other ones did, but there is a book, and it sold pretty well. But then the guy... They were all art students, too, which was kind of interesting. So he had drawn, like all the guys had drawn what they saw, like right away, once they had the memories come back from the whatever. So they had pictures of the saucer. He did say, though, he's like, we didn't lie about seeing the craft. Like, we totally saw UFO. Like, yeah.
Oh.
I just lied about remembering what happened. That's what he says. Like, I don't remember that.
They had too many Keystone Lights on the boat, maybe.
They're probably
and then,
Nagasets or whatever. And actually,
yeah.
that is funny. They said, "Were you guys like drunk or stoned?" And they said, "We brought 6 beers on the trip."
That's
okay,
it.
That's a lie.
That is a lie.
You're camping in the middle of nowhere, and there's
6.
4 dudes, and you brought a 6-pack.
One dude brought a 6-pack.
They had allegedly a beer each at the beginning of the trip, got another 6-pack, and then had more beers at the end. So they each had 2 beers on the entire trip.
False.
That's what I thought. So I was like, this
I'd
story
have 2 beers before we even started unpacking the car.
I had 2 beers already today. Actually, 3. We're on 3.
We're out to 3, though.
So but it happened in the same area where this brewery is at. So in this lake, in this area, it's all connected by waterway.
Okay.
And it's the Allagash, I think, River is the name of it. But it is in this area where these things have been said to have happened. And this was just the most famous, got a lot of press.
There's only 2, like, UFO movies that have really freaked me out. One, Fire in the Sky is one of them, and The Fourth Kind is the other one.
I still want to see that.
That is terrifying. You'll never want to go to like northern Alaska if you watch it.
Yeah.
So no, it's terrifying. Don't.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's one of those kind of what was the
It's like Paranormal Activity
yeah,
style.
kind of, but then very Blair Witchy kind of too, where
Like
it was
handheld cameras and
yes, and you don't know what was real versus what's filmed, which is fine.
was it Mia Jovovich in that?
I think so.
I think so. I wanted to watch that, but aliens is one thing that scares me.
Really?
Yeah, like that. Any sort of like horror genre or anything. Like,
Yep.
I feel like it's probable or possible.
I feel like it's the most unknown because it's out of this world, right? Like even
Literally.
even Stephen Hawking once said like, I don't know why we're looking for aliens. Like we don't even know what they're capable of.
True.
Yeah.
Like what we're gonna find one and then what?
Yeah, then what do you do? It's too late. I mean, it's like a whole big thing. This summer was like the government said, yeah, they exist and they're real, and nobody's really talked about it, which is strange to me.
Yeah.
But you can listen to a different podcast for that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's tons of them.
But yeah, so this one hit home because it was the Allagash Abductions, and we're doing Allagash beers. So there you go.
I went for a second pour on the stout. I really enjoyed that. That is very, very good.
It's my favorite of the 3.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely.
I think I liked the second one was the easiest drinking for me. Like that one went down. The Allagash White had good flavor, and it was something I really haven't had before. But I don't know if I would really want to order it a bunch. You know, I think 1 or 2 would be fine. This one's pretty good.
There's a uniqueness to the Allagash White that maybe we've not had before.
Yeah. I mean, if this was your local beer in your area for 25 years, yeah, you probably like almost crave that beer.
Yes.
But that's not a style that we really grew up with around here.
The last thing I had on Allagash White, just because I don't know if we've ever had, and we've had some beers that have been recognized that won a lot of awards.
Right.
I mean, we've done a lot of them. Right?
Sure.
I mean, that
These
have
episodes,
been
yeah.
right. I don't know if we've had one that has won this many awards for this many years. Like
Okay.
this one has won. Allagash White has won repeatedly. So gold at, and it's all out of order, so I apologize. So gold at Great American Beer Fest in 2015. Go back 5 years, it won bronze at Great American Beer Fest 2010. It won gold 5 years before that in 2015. 3 years before that, it won gold in 2002.
Wow.
Just recently, it won gold in 2020, so this
where?
is
At Great American?
at Great American Beer Fest.
That won gold
Right
last
here.
year.
Last year,
And Dolan's like, I don't like that
2002,
beer.
2005,
Man.
bronze in 2010, gold in 2015.
That's crazy.
So
Over and over and
2005. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
over and over again. So,
Whoa.
European Beer Star gold medal 2017, World Beer Cup bronze 2002, silver 2004, gold 2010, gold 2012.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Wow.
Huge. I mean, it's just the accolades for this beer over and over and over again over a sustained number of years. That's impressive.
How do they pick judges for this? Because
I don't know.
I'm curious, like, if you get a judge that's just like, like me, like that, I don't really like that style. I could tell how it's good.
I don't think
you know.
I can tell you that, at least locally, because with my brother-in-law, we did a couple of contests together, and it's a big homebrew thing. Like, you could send beers. There's a homebrew category at Great America Beer Festival, right?
Sure.
So, like, you can do all this stuff. And he is not one to really put beers in for that. He just wants to make them so his friends can drink them. But a lot of people make beers specifically to get awards.
Right.
The judges that we've had, we did a contest with, I guess it would be Laszlo's, so Empyrean Brewing Company. A lot of local places do them. There's one here in Omaha, Nebraska Brewing Company used to do it, where they give you, everybody gets the same base ingredients, and then you make a beer.
Interesting.
So we made an IPA for this Imperial one. It was a hop cup or something like that. And all the judges were either, they work at the brewery or they're like cicerones. Like, they're legit people that know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that win those contests, like the Laszlo's one was like, if you win, they make your beer.
Cool.
So then you upscale your recipe and you get to go there and make it, and they bottle it or whatever.
Sweet.
And they still, I think Laszlo's, they might still do that. Maybe the last year or so they stopped with the COVID stuff, but it's kind of a fun way for home brewers to get their stuff to the masses, Even Sam Adams had a contest.
That's right.
That's how the guy from Boiler got his kind of fame, was
Yeah, and I can't
with
remember.
Tim Thompson's. He had a sour beer.
Yep.
And they used to sell them as a 6-pack. So they'd have their winners or whatever. The Sam Adams 6-packs would be 3 different home brewers, and you'd get 2 bottles each.
Yep.
And it was just a way to try these weird styles that had won those contests. I don't think they do that anymore either. But
I don't know. It's like brewing the American dream or something like
it's
that.
something like that. So it is kind of a thing. But as far as I know, the judges know what they're talking about more than we do. It's like,
without a doubt.
yeah. So it's like a science to them. And you have to do, like, you send one so that they can, like, analyze and say, okay, you said it was, the pH was this. Here's what our tests actually show it was. Like, it's that, like, chemistry and
So much chemistry.
a ton. And then it's also like, what does it look like? What does it taste like? What is the ABV what you said it is? Like, this whole thing. So it's a lot of looks. It's a lot about science, and it's a lot about taste. And
Interesting.
for me, that's too much.
Yeah, see, because I watched a couple things on YouTube where they did like vodka tasting, and it was like, people who could pick out different adjuncts in their
Notes.
vodka and
That's
different
ridiculous.
notes. Same thing with
Yeah.
like whiskey, like, oh, this one's got like cherries and a little bit of caramel or whatever.
No.
I cannot tell that because vodka to me it tastes like just tastes like gross, like a little bit of gross and some more gross
And some burning.
and some burning.
I love vodka.
Tastes
so
like
much,
burning.
so.
Well, it's great when you mix into stuff, but yeah, I watched a couple of them where they did like blindfold tastings, and like Barton's was always like, oh man, this one's so great, and then even they were like, what? No. No.
The people that make Bartons are like, you got the wrong stuff.
That's not right.
Us? $5.99 for the plastic bottle? What?
Deal.
Okay,
Deal.
done.
Gets the job done, but it'll give you a raging headache in the morning. So
Yeah, whatever.
But yeah,
You start over, you never get the headache.
Right.
that's cool. I guess I was just curious about that. Never knew about that.
TripAdvisor.
Okay.
This is fun.
I bet you there's a bunch.
1,140 reviews.
Because they've been around 20, 30 years almost.
5 out of 5. On 1,140 reviews.
That's pretty good.
That is
Wow.
ridiculous. It is the number one thing to do in Portland out of 151 things to do.
And there's no, like, I couldn't find the bathroom.
One guy was like, your parking's not that great or whatever, but then it was still like 5 stars.
Yeah.
Like he still had some. Now, here's what's fun. And I normally clip out one of the little reviews or whatever. They were all so good. What I noticed, though, is Allagash Brewing will go and respond to every single post on there. So anybody that rates them, 5, whatever, right? Everybody that rates them, they'll go on and say, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed our beers. Thank you very much. That's awesome feedback or whatever. Like, they respond to it's the first brewery I've seen do that.
I wonder if they do that on Untapped, too. Because it's always fun when you check
That's
in a
good
beer,
question.
and then the brewery gives you a cheers.
Yes, I love that.
That's kind of baller. Like, I'm like, and I show my wife, she's like, you're stupid.
She's like, whatever. They don't
That's so
care.
dumb.
I checked in a beer once at like a 2.25, and the brewery was still toasted me.
Yeah.
They're like,
Well, at least you took the time to do it.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. And 2.25, for some people, that might be really high. Maybe.
man. Well, I remember thinking, wow, that's weird. But then because they were a bigger brewery or whatever, but it's super cool.
Yeah, I like it, too. I mean, just a little bit of attention to detail. We were talking about that before.
Yeah, we were.
All right, Untapped. Lots and lots.
I'm going to guess Allagash White is in the, like, 10,000 check-in category. or
I
maybe
only
more.
did Allagash White. That was the
Okay.
only one that I did. Now, it'd be fun to look up the other ones.
Yeah.
229,000 check-ins.
I was
I mean, it's
I was
been there
thinking
for
10,000.
years.
Wow.
We've had some that were like 50.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next week's like 220 some. It's not very
I'm
much.
going to say 4.02.
I'm gonna say 4.18.
3.76.
Ah,
You know,
That's about where I would put it, actually.
Absolutely.
I'd go 3.75.
yeah.
yeah.
Dolan's going to agree with us.
Well, he may not, but
That's
it would be
okay.
fun to look up North Sky just to
Well,
see
let's
where
do it
that
since it
went.
was both of your favorites. We should do that.
Yeah,
And while you're doing that, I'm going to have some more of that Allagash White.
There
the
you go.
noted
there you
one.
go. There's more in the 16 counties one too. So
Friend of the show and president of the Omaha Storm Chasers, Marty Cordero, has checked this beer in twice. Allagash White.
Nice.
I don't know where I'll have to ask him next time I see him.
Road
where-
trip, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know where he would have had that, but
That's what you want to do with the guy that runs the Storm Chasers. You're like, hey, man, where'd you get that Allagash White?
where did you get that?
Probably he can tell you.
All right, North Sky, 8,483 check-ins.
That's a lot less.
That's a lot less.
382.
That's a good guess. I'm gonna go 388.
381.
Oh,
so close. Friend of the show, Aaron Highfill. He's a travel flight
nurse,
Yeah,
yeah.
he does flight nursing. You see him on a previous episode of Atlas All Access talking about flight nursing and
He checked that one
helicopters. He has checked that in before.
he loves craft beer.
He does.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, that's one of the not one of the reasons why, but he definitely takes advantage of the areas of the country that he's in to go visit breweries.
Oh, I would do that too.
and stuff. He checked in North Sky at a 4.
Yeah.
And he actually wrote tailgate, which is kind of fun. And the picture is he appears to be tailgating by himself because
There's nobody in the parking lot.
It's just a snowy parking lot.
Hey, man, you got to have a sense of humor.
I guess so, man.
That's good stuff.
I love it. So, all right, man.
Those were fun. Those were all different. That was good.
Thank you again to everyone that went to the Portland, Maine meet and greet. We pre-COVID, I mean, well, not pre-COVID, but before we got back into COVID, good Lord.
Yeah.
We had a blast up there. That was a lot of fun. The pictures are great. Dolan did a nice job putting together the, did you put together the, oh no, that was Jamie.
It was Jamie.
Jamie
Yeah.
did a nice
Jamie
job.
went.
That's right.
Yeah.
Putting together the kind of recap. You can find that on YouTube, the recap of our meet and greet. If you haven't been to an Atlas meet and greet, you're going to have to wait a little bit, right? We got to get through this crap.
Yep.
But next year, we're going to go strong again.
I've never been to a meet and greet.
You should.
Just saying, it's been 3
Oh.
years.
It's a blast.
I don't really have a reason to go, but I'd like to.
Yeah, you could.
Do one in Omaha, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
They are a lot of fun, and like things like this happen where then you happen upon a craft beer bar or a brewery or something like that.
Yeah.
That seems to happen a lot with us, quite honestly. And And you'll try things you maybe have never tried before.
Yeah, like these beers today.
All right, fellas, we're not going anywhere for a while.
Let's have another beer.
Thank you for listening to A Beer with Atlas. Special thanks to our brand team for producing the show. Each episode of A Beer with Atlas is powered by Atlas MedStaff, an industry leader in travel healthcare staffing.